Hello, hello, and welcome to another video with AB Adventures. I'm Amanda Boardwine, and today we are going to be covering a unique topic, traveling all the way back to 1993, and a specific visit to the Walt Disney World and the Grand Floridian Resort. The people who took this trip, Princess Diana and her family. During that time, she was one of the most famous and most photographed women in the world, but you may not be familiar with Princess Diana. So there have been numerous films, documentaries, and books written about her, and one of the latest is Netflix's The Crown. The most recent season introduced the character of Diana, and many people are getting a fresh glimpse at who she was, albeit however limited. For my Disney friends here, though, you may not know that Diana actually took a trip to Walt Disney World in August of 1993 at a time when quite a lot was changing in her life. So we're going to cover the details of that here. Stick around, friends. Alright, for those of you who don't know very much about Diana, I've linked a couple of really great resources below for you to learn, but covering a little bit of backstory, we know that Diana gained the interest of Prince Charles when she was very young, at the age of 18. If you know of her through The Crown, that time of her life was covered in the most recent season, so you can watch it there. Even then, the infamous intrusions by the press had begun quite strongly, and Prince Charles and Diana were married in July 1981 after a brief engagement. Over a decade later and 2 children, the couple officially separated and later would announce their divorce. It was in this season, immediately after announcing their separation, that Diana also made an announcement about backing away a bit from the public as the press had become increasingly intrusive and overwhelming.
But I was not aware of how overwhelming that attention would become, nor the extent to which it would affect both my public duties and my personal life. I will be reducing the extent of the public life I've led so far.
Diana took a massive break from public engagement, spending more time with her sons, taking them to theme parks, and generally having a somewhat more laid-back life. So it comes at no surprise that on August 24th, 1993, Diana took her sons and some close friends of hers to Walt Disney World in Florida. They stayed at the Grand Floridian, which in 1993 was known as the Grand Floridian Beach Resort. The resort had opened not too many years before her visit and was the premier resort on property just as it is today. Of course, being the most photographed woman at the time, crowds were waiting to meet her, and she had to be snuck through the back door and the kitchen to her room. You betcha the crew loved getting to see her and even applauded her quick visit through their space. Now, you might not know this, but the Grand Floridian has an upper floor with a massive suite, typically just reserved for VIPs, and in this case, royalty. This suite, of course, is where Disney welcomed Diana, her family, and her friends. There have been some really great videos done within the suite so you can see some of the detail, and they're just great videos. I've got them credited as well. The fun part about them staying in the suite, though, is that Disney actually had the whole carpet torn out of the suite and replaced with a fresh version right before her visit. Like, they heard she was coming and decided it was time for a refresher. But upon arrival, the guests were greeted by Mickey and Minnie. Of course, it's Disney, and they had a beautiful space to enjoy their relaxation on Disney property, and Diana was actually seen sipping coffee and making a call on the balcony. Yet another glimpse at how persistent and present those cameras were in her life. So a majority of the time was spent in Magic Kingdom. Many of the photos that we have today are actually from Splash Mountain, and I can take a guess at this and say that Diana's party was heavily protected at the time, and probably a lot of people couldn't get really close to be able to take pictures, and these shots of Splash Mountain provided the best access to getting photos while also being in good enough lighting for anything to show on film, because film hadn't developed quite the same as it has today. So that's my best guess. I don't know for sure, but I love the pure joy that the whole group has among themselves. This is what we love about the Disney parks, that it brings out the fun and the laughter, and it's just so nice to see it experienced here for even a royal family. Once the group was spotted at the Country Bear Jamboree, and I really wonder which segment they enjoyed the most in there. I'm not gonna guess, but I really wish I could ask because every act is so different in there. They also hopped aboard the Jungle Cruise to take in the sights and the laughs. Big Thunder Mountain was another big hit. And in addition, Harry mentioned years later that he remembered being fascinated with Space Mountain, riding it over and over again. He said like 12 to 14 times. I don't know whether to believe that or not, but I will say that I remember feeling the same way when I was little. So it could be. He certainly thought it was the best ride ever. One of the very few videos of their time in the parks was caught from a family in the balcony at Hoop-Dee-Doo Review, and you get to see them all really enjoying their time there, especially Prince William. He was really getting into the show, and then, of course, they called him on stage to participate with the actors and the other guests, and I love this glimpse into his personality as a young child, enjoying a vacation with his family. So fun, and you get to see Diana really enjoying this time. This is just really great footage compared to how much we are actually missing, and I'm just so grateful for this individual for capturing this moment and making it public for us to be able to share in it. On another day, the group took a tour in Hollywood Studios, and the park was fairly new at that point and very much reflected the studio feel with the backlot tours and the views of artists working on animation for their films. I honestly really miss this time. We just won't talk about it anymore. Back to Diana. There's some really great shots of them enjoying their time in the parks, and you can really see how relaxed and at ease they were, far removed from the life that we often associate with the royal family. As I was researching for this, I came across some photos of Diana in the Backlot Express and in a now extinct ride, and found out that they were actually from my friend Susanna, who was there at the time. So cool. So Susanna's blog name is Xanaland, and if you have happened to have not heard of her before now you have, and you should definitely go give her a follow. There's a part of me that wishes that there was more video of this trip, but you have to remember that most people weren't carrying video cameras around during that time, and certainly not expecting a surprise visit like this one. While this trip may have been such a tiny part of their lives and far removed from what typically would fill their days, it gives us such a small look into the simplicity that they sought and the ways that Diana desired to give her sons experiences away from a palace, to see normal life and really enjoy that among family. So there's the fun little review of their trip and recap of it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and hit the like button as well, and we will see you all on the flip-flop.